And we're live! Hello, all, and welcome. And I am the Realist Philosopher, and this is the Realist Philosopher Show. So, how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. I'm doing pretty good, and as promised, I have material prepared to talk about the Lauren Southern case, as I said I would in my last show. So, for those of you who don't know who Lauren Southern is, and you have to have been living under a rock not to know, she's a supposed conservative activist and journo. She's about as much of a journalist as I am, though. She's she does a puff piece opinion pieces, right? She gives her opinion on a lot of stuff. She's not really a journalist, just like the people on the far left, radical left, are not really journalists. Just like the people at CNN are not journalists. They're just talking heads, right? Giving their own opinion. And that's fine. That's fine. There's a place for that kind of, not really journalism. So she passed herself off as a conservative activist, conservative reporter, journalist my ass. But, passed herself off as a conservative activist slash semi reporter, and she traveled all over the world on the Rebel Media's dime. The Rebel Media is an outfit funded by a guy named Ezra Levant. He's a bit of a money grubber, big surprise. But from what I understand, besides the money grubbing, he's an all right guy. But anyway, yeah, she used to work for them until she quit, in my opinion, to make more money, right? Be free to collect more of her own donations. Essentially, when she worked for the Rebel Media, donations, generally speaking, to fund her work would go to the Rebel Media, and then she'd get a paycheck from them. She wanted to be free from them, free to pursue her own fundraising activities, which netted her tons of money. Tons of money, which she spent on, very, let's say that she spent it on things that are not necessities, okay? And we'll leave it at that for now. She was loved on the right because essentially there's a lot of, disenfranchised young men who really, really like the idea of a semi-attractive girl advocating on their behalf for them. The truth of the matter is I never found her to be all that attractive, although she has gotten better. She lost some weight back in her younger days. Yeah, she's 23, but when she was 20, she was a little chunky, little cottage cheese downstairs, but seems she lost weight. Yeah. Found that, she could get more shekels if she was better looking, not as chunky. So she slimmed down. And really went at grabbing at the shekels, I mean, she went hog wild with the donations and, yeah, I'm out there for you all. Yeah, right. Bunch of bullshit. It turns out she's a fraud, total fraud. And I predicted this back in 2017, like more than 2 years ago. I knew she was a total fraud. I saw her talking, and I was like, that's not her words. Somebody else is writing for her. I'm sorry. There ain't any decent-looking broads out there, who have half a brain and can come up with most of the stuff she's saying. And I was right. I was proven right, it turns out. So this article, written by Milo Yiannopoulos, who I like, even though he's a fag. Even though he's a fag, I don't hold it against him, okay? I don't have a problem with that. Whatever you want to do in the privacy of your own home, you want to fag it up in your own house, that's great. Fine, whatever. But he's right on the money about her, okay? I mean, I judge a person based on, their actions in public life, right? I don't care what they're doing consensually in their own home, right? But anyway, as long as you're not pushing it on me, right? As long as you're not trying to turn me into a fag, all right? And push male cuddle corners and push birth control methods for men that are actually designed to be a form of male castration. As long as you don't push that kind of stuff, I'm fine with you, right? You can be as gay as you want. All right? Because without all this artificial manipulation by the left trying to turn people gay, they're about what? Less than 1% of the population? Yeah. Let them do their thing. But I like Milo. I like him. He's a provocateur, kind of like me in that sense. I like to provoke. I think it's necessary in this stifled political atmosphere we live in. But he did the reporting on this story initially, and he did the research. He did a lot of research, apparently. He's a good writer. Unfortunately, the article is huge, so I had to just cut out little snippets because it looked like about 10,000 words. I mean, Looked like a college master's or a doctoral thesis or some shit. It was long. So I just am going to comment on the meat of it, and I'm going to get right to it. So here we go. So the name of Milo's story is not even trying to hide it. And while you might think it's not about Lauren, because it's mostly talking about two of her employees, comrades in arms, as it were, it's about her, okay? It's about her, tangentially, okay? And we'll get more to more about her as we discuss these two fellows, as it were, that worked for her, with her, whatever. All right, so not even trying to hide it. Say farewell to the klepto queens of the British far right. So kleptomaniacs, thieves. So they're thieves, proven thieves. He wouldn't be able to say it if it wasn't true, all right? He'd get sued. So by Milo Yiannopoulos. So two gay video producers stole tens of thousands of dollars from Tommy Robinson. So let's check out these people who worked with Lauren, who Lauren even lived with for a period of time. Not just like for a night or two, okay? For an extended period. So they lived together. I wonder what was going on between them. I wonder if there was any fun going on there. Yeah, I know they're homo, but come on. One of them's trans, actually. Let's take a look at these homos. Oh, aren't they precious? Look at the one on the left. Looks even freakier than the one on the right. The fuck's that? So that's a tranny. Butch, lesbo haircut, right? Yeah. Although usually when you're tranny, you're trying to look more feminine as a man. Trying to pass yourself off as a woman, not less. But anyway, perfectly manicured eyebrows, face covered in makeup, bowl haircut, Friar Tuck haircut, minus the little bald spot in the top, maybe. And you get the goofy one on the right. Yeah. Doesn't comb his hair. I'm too beautiful and pretty a gay boy. I don't need to do any of that. No comb for me. Men love me regardless of a combed hair. Nah, yeah. Yeah, you don't need to comb your hair. Okay, pal, we get it. So these are the two homos in question. So they stole tens of thousands of dollars from Tommy Robinson. Apparently at one point, Lauren was living in London and reporting in London and working hand in hand with Tommy Robinson. And when he got taken to jail, her and these fags got put in charge of collecting donations for him. They had access to his money, basically. Bad idea. So they stole tens of thousands of dollars from Tommy to fund shopping sprees, lavish dinners, and champagne-fueled parties in London's most expensive zip codes, say a string of witnesses. Well, I guess those of you out there who donated to Tommy, you can rest assured that your money went to pay the lavish lifestyle of two fags who seems their sole purpose in life is to fuck other dudes and drink. Aren't you happy you donated to Tommy when he was in prison getting fed shit? They endangered, of course it goes beyond this, all right? They endangered conservative celebrities by leaking security information to Antifa, and they worked with progressive journalists to cook up damaging stories about right-wing media figures. Now, if you haven't figured it out already just by reading this, they're not real conservatives. They're playing both sides of the field. Imagine that! Homos playing both sides! I wonder if they were doing that with Lauren when she was living with them. I wouldn't be surprised! Yeah, okay, so, this is crazy. So they were double agents in a sense, right? Yeah. It's very interesting. Well, not really. Well, sorta. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, they were working with the left. They were leftists pretending to be rightists, occasionally reporting on leftists. So they cooked up damaging stories about right-wing media figures. Former colleagues say their boss, Lauren Southern, knew about everything they were doing and encouraged them. Okay, so there's the key thing. She encouraged them. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Why would she encourage them? Why would she encourage them to work with left-wing groups? She getting paid. She getting paid, yo. It's the only reason. There's no other motive. What's the motive otherwise? Oh, we're going to inform hate, love not hate, or whatever the name of some of these groups are, Antifa, about this conservative meeting. Okay, why? Well, that could be the reason. You're getting paid either way, right? You're ginning up controversy, right? It's money. Whether or not these left-wing activists are either paying her or they're going to show up and give her a news story, something to report on, make herself look like a victim, make it look like she's putting herself into danger, right? And say, look at me, fellow conservatives. Yeah, she's a conservative, my ass. I'll put myself in danger for you. See all the risk I'm taking to report on these stories? You need to donate to me. And of course, people were much more likely to donate to her because she's taking all these supposed risks. But it turns out she's not taking any risks at all because she's actually working directly with these left-wing organizations who show up, cause trouble, stir up controversy, but they leave her alone. Because it turns out she might be a double agent too, just like these gay boys working for her. So, could it be even worse than her not being a conservative at all? Could it be that she is a left-winger, just like these fags that are working for her? Yeah, and it turns out they're fags. These fags are double agents, and they're leftists. All right? You'll see later on in the story. So if you've ever donated to Tommy Robinson, says Milo, the British free speech and anti-Islamic activist dubbed the backbone of Britain by Steve Bannon, there's a fair chance your money didn't end up paying for his tour bus or security guards. Yeah, but was instead diverted to pay for champagne-fueled gay soirees in some of London's most expensive zip codes. The culprits, a homosexual couple who produced both of Lauren's documentary films. She didn't even produce her own films. And who last month released their own movie, You Can't Watch This, about free speech. They're grifters. They don't care about free speech. They're leftist grifters, okay? Just playing off of the conservatives out there. They're just pandering to conservatives to make some money because the people who really have money are the left so often. Yeah, you got a lot of elitist nut jobs out there who have some money. But on average, when you're talking about, looking at the general population, a lot more conservatives have dough than liberal lefty nut jobs living in mommy's basement. All right, so that's who they're pandering to. So Robertson and his boyfriend George. Boy George. Oh boy, that's fitting. A former transgender woman who now identifies as a male. They're freaks! What's going on here? I thought she was running a conservative outfit. What the hell is she having gay trannies working for her? By the way, she also has been filmed in bed. Not just sitting on the bed, but in bed under the covers with a tranny dude, who might have been passable as a good-looking guy. I don't know what he looked like without the makeup, but how much you want to bet they boffed? Okay, I bet they boffed. Of course they boffed. She's in bed with a tranny dude. But she's a conservative! Yeah, right. More than a dozen former co-workers, friends, and acquaintances say Cowlan Robinson and George Llewellyn John bragged to them. There's a lot of witnesses, by the way, about these and other betrayals, thefts, frauds, and sabotages. Now, these are the kind of things you do to people that you hold in contempt, the same way that the left holds the right in contempt and has no problem stealing from their fellow Americans in the form of tax dollars, right, in the forms of welfare and so-called entitlements. They're entitled. They think they're entitled. They're typical leftists. Their attitude, their behavior clearly points that out, including a secret years-long collaboration with a George Soros-funded far-left activist group that endangered the lives of Gavin McInnes and Tommy himself. Leaked documents revealed for the first time confirm many of these claims. So this is just a snippet of some of the things that these guys did under the auspices, under the supervision of Lauren Southern, who can just pawn it off on them. We found that the pair stole Bitcoin worth $20,000. $20,000. Not $2,000, not $200, $20,000 from Tommy Robinson, while the activist was in jail to fund their jet set lifestyle. Oh, can you believe this? I think Tommy Robinson, has 3 kids and a wife? His life is constantly under threat. The guy lost tons of weight in prison because he didn't want to eat because his fellow inmates were being allowed by someone, clearly the prison authorities, to put shit and other nasty substances in his food. Maybe they poisoned his food. So he didn't eat very much in prison. So He lost a shitload of weight. And while he's suffering, these two fag fucks are jet-setting around the globe on his money. Oh, great. Yeah, while his kids are fatherless, while the wife is suffering harassment. No daddy. They needed money, I'm sure. Money that these fag fucks stole. They booked a luxury Airbnb and bought 6 bottles of Dom Perignon champagne on Tommy Robinson's wife's credit card. Their boss is Lauren. There's no way she doesn't know about all this. What do you think, Tommy or other people didn't inform her about these things? Get a brain. Get a brain out there, Lauren Southern fans. I know she was your goddess, your guru. You loved her. You thought she was that wonderful exception to the rule. Not all women are like that. Look at her. She's so smart and beautiful, and she's an ally of men. Yeah, right. Get the fuck out of here. There's no such woman. No such woman. Maybe you're starting to wake up. You pinhead fucks. Wake the fuck up. Next, they swapped camera equipment worth thousands of dollars for secondhand models they found on eBay. And they sold the others on eBay as well or to pawn shops. So their boss, or Tommy himself, is giving them access to equipment of his. They're stealing it, swapping it out for junk, and selling the good stuff. They're grifters. They're conmen grifters. Oh my God. They worked with Hope Not Hate. That was the name, Hope Not Hate, an Antifa-affiliated far-left organization for years. That's funded by George Soros, by the way. They worked with Hope Not Hate for years. Now, why would two supposed conservatives working for Lauren Southern, the conservative darling that so many work with, Stefan Molyneux and Rebel Media, she's been on Steven Crowder. Oh, she's so fucking great. She's a grifter. She's a grifter. And I think people need to be very, very cautious in their dealings with this woman in the future. She's a proven grifter, and while you could argue that, well, you can't have guilt by association, you know, I don't know. If you know that John Wayne Gacy murdered a bunch of young men and buried them under his house, but you still decide to be buddies with him, I think we can call your character into question. I think we can do that. I think that a little guilt by association can rub off on you. You can and should be judged by who you associate with. Abso-fucking-lutely. If you associate with this cunt, well, I think some of that stink should rub off on you, okay? I got to question you and your character. So, these two fags defrauded Alex Jones with inflated expense claims. How do I get one of these jobs where I have all this autonomy to do all this shit and then get other people to pay for it? Oh, wait! Just become a socialist! They're socialists! That's what socialists do. Yeah. They risked the life of Tommy Robinson by sharing his location with Hope Not Hate. If you were wondering how the left is able to find right-wing, supposed right-wing, grifter, liar, non-right-wing pretenders like Lauren Southern, how they're able to find her so often, she tells them where she is so she can get some good footage and play you all for suckers and play herself up as a heroine that she is not. She's made deals with these people. Show up, cause a ruckus, break some shit, just don't hurt me. And then everybody out there will think I'm a fucking hero and donate some money to me. To me. You people fell for this. Unbelievable. She risked the life of Gavin McGinnis by sharing his travel itinerary with Hope Not Hate. Wow. That's great. That's great. If anybody out there thinks that these two guys were doing this without Lauren Southern's knowledge or approval and maybe even her direction, you're a fool. She's their boss. She was their boss. She was their boss. They quit working for her now, by the way, once this information came out. Imagine that. Isn't it interesting also how her retirement coincides with this information coming out? Yeah, of course it does. Her cover's been blown. She doesn't want to face all the questions and the media attention and the grilling she'll get about these subject matters. So, yeah, it was easier for her to retire. The jig is up. The jig is up. And she knows it. So anyway, let's continue. Oh, there's more. There's more. So these guys, with, I believe, the approval and direction even of Lauren Southern, circulated a fake email about Milo Yiannopoulos doxing his husband. So if you want to know, for those of you who don't follow Milo, he got doxed. His husband got doxed. It was Lauren Southern and these two fags that doxed him. Isn't that great? That's great. And we all know what happens when you get doxed. Just look back to what happened to poor Tucker Carlson. Leftists were trying to break into his house. They broke the door jamb of his house. They were banging on his door so hard to try and get in. They actually broke the fucking door. The only thing that stopped them was cop sirens approaching. And the leftist, the fucking brave revolutionaries of the left ran away. You know, they're such tough revolutionaries that hate the cops. And they're such anarchists, that they ran instead of fight the cops. Yeah. Oh, a bunch of frauds. Yeah, they're good in groups against women and children, right? They're good when it comes to being in a large crowd and there's just one of the other. Oh, there's 20 of us, one of you. I'm going to kick your ass. Yeah, they're real brave in that situation. She's one of them. She's a lefty. She's a leftist. I was saying this back in 2017. You people didn't listen. I swear. I swear. She's got all these fucking followers and she's a fraud. She's a fraud. This is yet more proof that people don't want to hear the truth. People want to be lied to. You all don't want to hear truth from me. You all don't want to live in ignorance. You all want to live in this fucking delusional fantasy realm where good-looking broads that are 8, 9s, or 10s ain't lefties and love you and are conservative, traditional women, even though it doesn't serve their interests to be so. But it does serve their interest to pretend to be so and to sucker you into giving them a bunch of fucking cash they can then hoover up and then spend on their mulatto boyfriends and their gay producers who are lefties and are informing on righties. Defrauded Lauren Southern with inflated invoices. So even she got taken advantage of by these fags. But she didn't seem to care. She continued to employ them even after she found out, while being paid by her to produce a documentary. Well, they did a lot of the writing for this documentary, you'll find out. So she tolerated it because she didn't think that she could get by without them. And it turns out she couldn't. Because she's a fraud. They defrauded rental companies by failing to return equipment and returning inferior models and broken units. Oh my God, so they would rent equipment? This is great. Wow, what a grift. What a fucking grift. So they would rent shit. That's theft. That's grand larceny. They're renting shit worth thousands of dollars, and then they're returning inferior equipment and trying to pawn it off as what they rented. How are these two not in jail? Oh, homo privilege. I see. These two made a fake rape claim against a far left activist. Very odd. They bragged about having TV shows canceled with bogus suicide threats. It's just weird behavior. Doctored their clients' videos to embarrass them. So they're video producers as well as writers for Lauren Southern. Turns out even a leftist fags can write better conservative content than her. So they're doing other work than besides the work they do for Lauren, I guess. They're probably doing video editing on the side. Make extra money to fund their lavish lifestyle. So they doctored client videos to embarrass them, including pitch-shifting male voices upward. So they're embarrassing the right. So they worked for a lot of right-wingers, working with Lauren, and tried to embarrass them. Wow, but they're not on the left, no. Even though now they've shifted that way. Yeah, okay. Gloated about their exploits while showering far-left activists with git. What more evidence do you need, other than all this? Other than their mindset and their actions, their entitled actions, and their socialist behavior. Listen to this. They gloated about their exploits, essentially robbing people on the right, while showering far-left activists with gifts, food and drinks at London's most expensive hotels, paid for by the conservatives they were working with. They never did this for conservatives. They're lefties. Lauren's a clear lefty. These two fags working for her two video producers, her two producers were clear lefties. So Lauren's a lefty. She lived with these guys, okay? These two fags are lefties. They saw very early on that they could very easily grift off of the conservative movement, that they would make much more money, okay? The other way you're going to grift off the left in terms of being some kind of talking head or being some kind of conservative commentator, get a job at CNN or MSNBC. There's really not a lot of organizations out there unless you can want to get paid like $15 an hour to be a hired protester by George Soros. So, yeah, on average, the right has more infrastructure, more money, more facilities, more resources. So, yeah, she saw, okay, I can get my bread buttered better. Say that 3 times. Bread buttered better. Bread buttered better. I can get my bread buttered better on the right than the left. So she pretended to be a conservative. Now, there's more. They shared their misdeeds with Lauren Southern, who laughed and egged them on. Are you listening? Are you listening? I don't like you, British philosopher. You're telling us truth, God damn it. If I had a bike lock, I'd whack you over the fucking head. I want to kill the messenger. Are you listening, people? Lauren Southern egged them on. She was the one directing them to do these things. They egged on is direction. Yeah, egged on is another word for directed. Okay. They disavowed Lauren Southern and Robinson after they stopped working for her and quit very recently and stopped working with Tommy Robinson. Once they stopped working for Southern and Robinson and they went to join their leftist friends because the jig was up. Milo wrote this article. A lot of this information was coming out from other sources. The jig was essentially up for these guys. They knew this story was going to come out. They knew that other stories were going to come out, revealing their bullshit, so they stopped working with Southern. They stopped working with Robinson, and they wanted to defend themselves, so they disavowed Southern. Yeah, they're such wonderful friends. Aren't you glad that you worked with and directed these people to work with lefties to make you look like more of a heroine of the right, Lauren? Which you definitely are not. Aren't you glad you trusted these two people and were great friends? These were like her best buds, these two fags. Well, they disavowed her at the first chance they got to shift the blame to other people. I wonder who does that. Who does that? Besides craven, fag, fuck, cowards, lefties. It's always somebody else's fault. It's not my fault. It's always somebody else. Shift the blame. Not me. You, but not me. They disavowed Southern and Robinson when challenged about their crimes, claiming they'd been radicalized by the far right online. Remember that for those of you who follow the right, you know about that story that came out recently? About that pinhead idiot talking about how he had been radicalized on YouTube by the far right? And then he was saved because he got radicalized by the far left? I go wherever the wind will blow me. Do. I'm an easily programmable robot. Yeah. I got radicalized by the evil far right. So I woke up eventually because I got radicalized by the left. They got the idea from that, right? Hey, look at this guy's article. He's talking about abdicating all responsibility for his actions and beliefs because he got radicalized by the far right. Oh, we can do that too. We can say we got radicalized. It's not our fault. We got brainwashed. Yeah, that's a non-response, non-explanation. All right, so Milo goes on to detail how he came up with this information. This story is the result of nearly 100 telephone interviews and a forensic review of evidence provided in no less than 5 discrete leaks and computer document dumps. Milo is an actual reporter in addition to somebody who writes opinion pieces. He actually verifies his sources and his facts before he reports on them because, he don't want to be sued. He used to work for Breitbart. He's a great reporter. Much better than people like Ben Shapiro, who's a fraud, total fraud, sellout fuck, globalist piece of crap. If you believe he's some kind of fucking conservative hero, this never Trump whack job who works for a globalist, all right? A globalist puppet himself. He's funded by a globalist puppet. He's a globalist. Well, I don't think that culture and race are in any way connected. I don't care about the browning of America. I don't think that's a problem. Really, Ben? That's because you're a globalist shill. Hoover up those shekels, buddy. So, yeah. Milo says, we found that while working on Southern's film Borderless, and while planning for You Can't Watch This, that's the so-called documentary written by just these two fags without Lauren, who was their front girl shill, while they pretended to be conservatives, because, two fags aren't going to be readily, easily accepted by the conservative community. So we'll put this pretty blonde forward. So while planning for You Can't Watch This, which boasts appearances by Gavin McInnes, Alex Jones, Laura Loomer, Paul Joseph Foster, and other conservative celebrities, Robertson and his boyfriend Llewellyn John. So they made a lot of conservative contacts, which they took advantage of, but they burned their bridges because they robbed too many fucking people. And now they burnt so many bridges they can't work on the conservative end anymore. So now that they burnt all these bridges, and they're revealed for the lefties that they are, well, I'm disavowing Lauren Southern and Diamond Robinson. Robertson and his boyfriend Llewellyn spread doctored emails about right-wing media figures that led to damaging and bogus headlines. And we all know that people just read headlines. They don't read the body of the story 99% of the time. And according to one former flatmate of the pair, oh, great, they were so spend happy with those tens of thousands of dollars that they needed a roommate because they couldn't control their spending. At least one of the personalities in their free speech film, Gavin McInnes, was directly endangered when they shared his travel itinerary with Hope Not Hate. Yeah, because we all know these lefty organizations don't hurt people. They're totally harmless. It's perfectly okay to dox people and give out their home address and where they're going to be at any given time. Sure. And if these people hate you, they're not going to hurt you. Lefties aren't known for being violent. Oh, no. Hope Not Hate, a British far-left campaigning group akin to the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is linked to domestic terrorist groups such as Antifa. Yeah. Oh, but the Southern Poverty Law Center, they're really about poverty. Yeah, that hate group is really about helping people. Yeah. Lefty think tank. Lauren Southern's relationship with the pair was especially close and lasted until May 2019. Not only did she live with Robertson and Llewellyn, as I said, in London, but Llewellyn John wrote the majority of the script for Borderless, as well as Southern's speech at the European Union. Global homo agenda with its shills. One of them being Lauren Southern. I wouldn't be surprised if Southern's got $1 million or more in the bank. I wouldn't be surprised if she's got tons of money stacked away, squirreled away. I wouldn't be surprised. Who knows how much she made? Who knows how much money this broad grifted? She's a grifter. She wasn't even writing her own material. She didn't write the speech for the European Union that Southern gave. She didn't write the script for her own fucking documentary. The hell did she do? She showed up and looked pretty. I have pigtails. Look, I can braid pigtails. She's like an AOC. I'd love to have a conversation with this broad without a little list of talking points that she's got to go by, right? That she's memorized, a little fucking Rolodex, ideological Rolodex in her fucking head. It's not even her own ideology. She's just referring to it. I don't believe in this ideology. I'm a lefty, not a righty. But I've memorized all their talking points. Right, I got a little list right here, too, that I can refer to, little bullet points while I'm talking to people. And you know when she does those online interviews with other people, other YouTube personalities, she's got a long list of bullet points that she's going to reference, right? And she's already established what questions are going to be asked beforehand. She's an AOC. She's a leftist operative who was essentially tasked essentially, or she, I swear to God. Oh, it's great. All these grifters, I love it. I mean, she said she wasn't. She's not like AOC, I don't think, in the sense that she was like chosen by anybody. I think she just saw an opening. I think she saw an opportunity, and maybe she was when I was saying tasked, maybe she was tasked by these two guys here, and chosen by them, or somebody else. You can be up front front person, right? You can be our front person. We see there's some money to be made pretending to be conservatives, but we're two fags. We're not going to get away with it very well, but you're pretty. You're beautiful. You'll pull in the audience. Yeah, you'll appeal to all those incel dudes. Yeah. And all those conservative guys that are yearning for an era long gone, and you'll promise to give it back to them, and you'll pander to their emotions, and they'll give you money. Yeah. And that'll add to our cred as well, as producers. And then we can get more side work as well. This is all scam. This is all fucking scam. All right. So they did all her writing. So she's not even... Who comes up with their opinions? Two gay guys? Unbelievable. There's more. Southern famously writes very little of her own material and has often embarked on sexual liaisons with men. This is the TradCon lady, gentlemen, that you all thought was so great. She's often embarked on sexual liaisons with men who have helped her with, get this, video scripts or notes for her content. I wonder how that worked. So was she tasked by these two homos? Or by Isla Levant and these two homos? Did she approach them? Did they approach her? How did she meet them? I wonder. Who approached who? Was she tasked or did she task them? And then they became this evil triumvirate of grifter, fraud, conservatives who were really lefties. I wonder. Either way, they were opportunistic grifters, obviously. And she's not even responsible for any of her own work. I remember watching her and I'm thinking to myself, this is false. This is fake. She's acting. She's full of shit. I saw it immediately. Believe me, I've had enough exposure to psychos and sociopaths to know on when I see them. She's a fraud. I warned all of you 2 years ago. I don't want to listen. I love her and want her pooed. Yeah, I'm sure she'll bang you. Oh, please. So, I remember I saw a video once of her walking around her apartment, and she was trying to essentially make herself more relatable as she walked around in short shorts and drank old wine from the night before. And I was like, this broad is completely detached from reality. She's not like regular people, okay? She doesn't know how regular people are. She doesn't know how regular people act. She's just trying to put on a show and act how she thinks regular people might act or be able to relate to, because she's not really able to relate to people in any real way. She's just reaching. She's grasping for any type of behavior she thinks will make her more relatable and be able to sell herself as a regular conservative broad who's just like everybody else. She's a fraud. She's a total fraud, total phony. While giving speeches about the trad life, which typically refers to fidelity in same-race nuclear families. Yeah, imagine that, because there's tons of studies that show that mixed-race families, children in mixed-race families, grow up having a lot more behavioral problems and run-ins with the law and drug abuse and alcohol abuse. Yeah. Traditional might actually be better. In-group preference might actually be better. But oh no, let's push degeneracy. Yeah. While pushing these so-called traditional values, Southern was, in the indelicate words of one major YouTuber, throwing herself around what seemed like the entire conservative movement in exchange for help with her writing. She's a moron, okay? On par with AOC. Well, you shouldn't be surprised. She's a natural blonde, right? Isn't she? Is she a brunette? Is all that hair coloring? I don't know. But she's dumb. She's real dumb, okay? We approached 4 of the men she... 4? She's 23! Wow, she's tossing around that spoon big time. We approached 4 of the men she's been linked to romantically. 4. That implies there were more. Wow, they were just giving away the intellectual property for access to that poon. I hope that was some good poon. I hope she gave up the ass. I hope you got anal from her, because she's made hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, off you poor saps who banged her. This is great. Each one of these 4 men is a prominent right-wing media figure. We probably know who some of these men are. This is very interesting. in a position to help Southern succeed professionally. Wasn't she working closely with Stefan Molyneux, that bastion of morality, that bastion of moral certainty? Taking trips with him, traveling around the globe with him. I wonder what was going on there. I'm not making any claims. I'm just speculating. I'm not even saying anything specific. I'm just thinking out loud. I wonder. I don't know. I'm saying I don't know what happened between the two of them. She sure seemed to profit, though, a lot from that collaboration and Stefan's almost 1 million followers. It's very interesting. Very interesting. I wonder if she got some of her talking points from him. Oh, wow. So, yeah. Each one of them were prominent right-wing media figures in a position to help Lauren succeed professionally. She's worse than a grifter. She's a whore. She's a fucking sugar daddy loving whore, except what she got was information, intellectual property, where the real value is. 10% of the wealth that exists in the world is actually 100% of what we see. 90% of the actual wealth is intellectual. And that's what she was getting. What she was getting was worth far more than gold or silver or jewels in the palm right now, in the moment. Oh, yeah. What she was getting was intellectual property. Ideas that would make her way more money than a one-time gift. That a cheaper, less savvy whore might get. She's very savvy. Very savvy. She befriended and banged, boffed a bunch of right-wing dudes in exchange for lots and lots of intellectual property of great value that she then passed off as her own ideas. And impressed a bunch of righty incel dudes. Oh, she's so fucking great. Look at how smart she is. She agrees with us. Bunch of neckbeard morons sending her money. You fucking idiots. What's going on out there? I'm sorry. I can't have anything but contempt for you right now. I'm sorry. You let yourself be duped by this broad. This is the problem. This is the problem with men these days. If a woman just expresses just even the tiniest bit of approval, of allyship, I'm going to be your ally. If she even expresses the tiniest bit of pandering to you and being sympathetic with your plight, you open up your fucking wallets and give her everything you got. Are you out of your minds? She's made millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. What do you think? She's retiring on 50 cents? She's got millions. I guarantee you she's got millions squirreled away. She's been at this grifting for years. Oh, boy. So all four of these dudes begged not to be named in the story. So by the way, he has an example here. One of them was willing to give details to Milo. An early example of the Southern sex for ghostwriting phenomenon. I love it. I'm relatively attractive and young. And by the way, how much you want to bet that Soph girl? SOPH, the Soph that got banned from YouTube recently, or at the very least got demonetized. I don't know if she got her channel back. I don't know, but I know that she was banned at one point. I want to bet you money that she did none of her own writing. Now, come on, 13-year-old kid. I've listened to some of her points of view, and unless she's got a really, really, really way high IQ, which I don't think so, all her talking points came from her parents. And she's claiming, my parents used to Democrats. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's just an attempt at redirection, okay? So that we won't go down the obvious path that your mommy and daddy wrote this content for you, okay? To profit off of this phenom, 13-year-old with all the right opinions. You got grifters on the left and the right. That little girl's a grifter too, okay? Those opinions are not her own. Just like that 16-year-old Swedish girl, okay, that's running around talking about climate change, and she's a fucking autistic girl. Well, you can't criticize her. She's not only a little girl, but she's autistic. Meanwhile, this little Soph comes out in the left-wing media, the same ones that say you can't attack the Swedish girl who agrees with us. Well, you can attack this little 13-year-old who's younger because she doesn't agree with us. You got grifters on both sides, and this chick is a grifter. Sex for ghostwriting phenomenon is Breitbart reporter alum Bokhari. So this isn't one of the four, okay? This is a fifth guy. This is after 2015. Wow. Okay, so this is five guys now that we know of. So Breitbart reporter alum Bokhari, with whom Southern began a short sexual relationship in L.A. in late 2015. Yeah, that's when she started to take off after they had that relationship. She cut off contact in typically abrupt fashion, leaving Bokhari heartbroken for over a year. She's a user. She pretends to be your friend, pretends to be your lover, pretends to care about you, but all she's really doing is trying to suck out intellectual property, intellectual information, ideas, talking points, ideas for scripts, actual full scripts, get his help, and then dumps him. Bye-bye! You were nothing more to me than an intellectual font of knowledge. I used up all your knowledge. You're not really helping me out much anymore, so I'm going to dump you and find another sap. She cut off contact in abrupt fashion, leaving him heartbroken, during which time associates of hers made embarrassing secret recordings of Bokhari as leverage. Brittany Pettibone comes to mind. Another fraud. Oh my God, she's evil. She's evil. Listen to this. Associates of Lauren Southern, this is fact. He's verified this information, okay? Milo Yiannopoulos is an actual reporter. He's not CNN. Associates of hers made embarrassing secret recordings of Bokhari as leverage in case he ever considered revealing his intimate encounters with Lauren, which pretty much involved her grilling him for information, getting him to write scripts for her, getting him to write documentaries for her, getting him to prepare full scripts for her episodes on her channel where she wanted to come across as the originator of this intellectual content and thereby become this beloved heroine of the right. The author acquired copies of those recordings at the time and retains them to this day. There's no... What? He acquired copies, but not the originals. How did he acquire these copies? I wonder. There's no suggestion that Southern and Llewellyn John, who used to identify as transgender, had a physical relationship. That's a weird aside to add at the end of that paragraph, which I'm sure they did. She was living with these guys for an extended period of time. They were close friends. She's in bed with a tranny in one video. In another video, she's dressed up in this weird cosplay-looking shit with some mulatto dude. This broad was all over the place. And these, by the way, were not the far-right members of the far-right, prominent members of the right, that she became entangled with in faux romantic relationships to get them to write for her. That's 7, 8 guys that can be connected to this broad and physical liaisons in just a 3-year period. Oh my God. She's a hook. She's a whore. She might as well be a hooker. She's exchanging sex for really, really valuable stuff. Not just money. That's of limited value. But the intellectual property that she gleaned from these men allowed her to present herself as something she wasn't and make way more money than a whore might make on a single night. Wow. Wow. So Lauren Southern is an even bigger fraud than I first alluded to. Because, of course, I didn't know all this information. But, wow, she's a huge fraud. Huge. And you all bought it. You all bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. I might not even get to any more stories. I might spend the whole rest of the show talking about this, which would only be about 10, 12 more minutes. You all got scammed. Let me explain something to you. Women, the right does not serve them, okay? The right does not serve them. Conservatism does not serve them. Traditionalism does not serve them. They're served by leftism, okay? They're served by subjectivism. They're served by emotionalism, okay? They're served by a system that plays to their solipsism, okay? In their belief and application of emotion over fact to gain power. Postmodernism serves them. Cultural Marxism serves them. Rightism, conservatism, traditionalism does not. You are not going to... I know there's some of these broads out there. That Candace Owen, she's a fraud too. Get the fuck out of here. Total fraud. I don't believe any of these broads are real. She was just hired by the Charlie Kirk dude. He hired her. Oh, you got a nice look. I like your opinions. She's just a mouthpiece. You're black, and you're able to spout right-wing token points, and you're black. That's good for us. Yeah, we could challenge that tired old trope of Blackie only being a Democrat, a dumb Democrat at that doesn't understand politics. Woohoo, we got a smart black woman here who's pro-Trump and conservative. Woohoo, more you black people now can become pro-Trump and conservative. Yeah, she's a fraud. She's a fraud. I'm sure similar stuff will come out about her. How she was polishing knobs all this time and getting her talking points from men. This idea of these eloquent, polished, well-spoken women with these well-thought-out, critically considered ideas that veer to the right, not even centrist, but veer to the right, oftentimes far right, and have nationalistic, protectionistic viewpoints of their own cultures and nations, and have political views that are on the right, they don't exist. They're not real. These women are all made up. They're fanciful creations, usually of men, sometimes of their own opportunism, because they've noticed the niche in the market that they can exploit. They're not real. They're constructions of others, or these women being opportunistic and seeing that they have essentially found people they can exploit, okay? They're just grifters. In all cases, they're grifters or opportunists, all right? Just like AOC is an opportunist. The circumstances regarding them getting into the position they're in might be different, but they're the same type of people, okay? And this Lauren Southern, granted, she's probably more intelligent than AOC because she noticed that niche. I think she probably inserted herself into that niche. She made positive efforts to get into that niche, like that Tommy Lahren. Another fraud. First she's pro-abortion, then she's not for abortion, then she's for abortion, and not really. She's all over the fucking place. She's ping-ponging all over because, well, I can't always have my handlers giving me talking points. Sometimes I have to go off script because I don't have every single goddamn thing people might address or every question somebody might ask me. I don't always have a fucking answer memorized, so I just have to go off of what I know or believe. Yeah, when you get these off-the-wall responses, you're seeing what they're really like and what they actually think, which ain't very much, by the way. But they're certainly not conservatives. Oh, boy. So anybody buying into this bunk about Lauren Southern being a conservative, being pro-male, being anti-feminist, you all got played, yo. You've donated millions of dollars to this fucking broad who played you. And you wanted to get played. You wanted to believe that she was your ally. You wanted to believe that she was on your side. You wanted to believe that there was some woman out there, especially a good-looking broad, who was for us. She could do better, but she's choosing not to do better. She could very easily, by the way, she couldn't very easily do better or get more somewhere else. Okay? Oh, boy, the majority of these guys on the left are living in mommy's basement and have no money, okay? Yeah, she could have went to the left and pandered to lefties, but that's not where the cash shown is, baby. Well, you got all these idiots that study fucking gender studies in school and liberal arts and political sciences, and they've got out of university, and they have no jobs and are living in mommy's basement. The conservatives studied finance, right? They studied finance and actual economics, unlike AOC. And they got good jobs, okay? And they became employed. And now they want to find wives, and they want to have kids. So her message appeals to them. People who have money, honey. Yeah, you could try to pander to all these fucking elites in fucking Hollywood and the media and the really rich. What are they, 1% of the population? And they're the people that donate the least on average? You just need to look at the statistics. Look at the statistics. Conservatives are way more generous when it comes to donating to charity or donating, period, to causes they believe in than lefties. She took all this into account and said, okay, I can make way more money pretending to be a conservative than I could pretending to be a lefty. She just goes where the money is, okay? Like any good grifter would. And that's what she is. She's a fucking grifter. A fucking grifter. And there was a phone call I listened to where Tommy Robinson was talking to her and asking her if these two fags had been meeting with Hope Not Hate. He had heard that these fags had been meeting with Hope Not Hate. And she told him, yeah, I knew that they were meeting with them. I meet with them too. Say what? She's 23 years old. The truth of the matter is, she's kind of dopey and not very smart. So she admits this. Why are you meeting with left-wing groups? I've met with them a lot over the years. I meet with them all the time. What? A George Soros-funded organization, and she meets with them. Can anybody say controlled opposition? Does anybody know what controlled opposition means? Google it. Controlled opposition. Ben Shapiro is controlled opposition, okay? Jordan Peterson is big-time controlled opposition. They say some things that sound good, that essentially disagree with leftist views, that play to pander to right-wing individuals just enough to get you into their good graces, and then you essentially disempower them with much more powerful, bigger messages that, while they sound harmless, and it sounds like these messages that they're feeding you are actually good for you, they're quite the opposite. Like the idea of radical individualism, right? That Peterson pushes. Yeah, he acts like he's anti-feminist. He's not anti-feminist. He's anti-radical feminism, right? He's anti-third, fourth waiver feminism, okay? But he's very much a feminist and for feminism. And he's very much for cultural Marxism as well. He hates hierarchies. He doesn't think hierarchies are a good thing. Yeah, they're naturally occurring, but he thinks they're not good. He thinks that wealth inequality is bad and that there needs to be something done in regards to artificial means, through the government or some other means. We have to do something to reduce income inequality. That's a Bernie Sanders talking point. I mean, if you've listened to Jordan Peterson, you stop for a second and stop trying to justify loving this fucking guy, you'll see that he's not your friend. He gives you some talking points to make you think he's your ally and that he's on your side. And because you are disenfranchised, you've been attacked all your life, you're a white man, you're always being told you're evil and horrible, and now you got somebody telling you you're not. You want to believe in their goodness. You want to believe in their validity. So you pretty much tend to disregard some of the behavior that points out that they're clearly not your ally, that they're a fraud. You don't want to believe it. You don't want to hear it because you like the message. And you like the idea that somebody is popular and who speaks in seemingly such well thought out speech. You want to believe that this person is on your side, right? Because then you're not any of these things they've told you. You're not this evil, horrible white person, a member of an evil, horrible race that has disenfranchised and oppressed so many people. You want to believe that you have some kind of value. And having this person as your champion, somebody speaking for you, somebody who is a hero for you, believing in them helps you have more self-esteem. But they're a fraud. They're a fraud. Jordan Peterson is controlled opposition meant to divide the right so they can be more easily conquered. And he divides you with the idea of radical individualism. And all his so-called ally speech where he pretends to be anti-feminist, anti-radical left, that's just to engender him to you so that he can then manipulate you to be a radical individualist, which is a theorem, an idea of the Frankfurt School. Radical individualism is designed to specifically be focused on, delivered to your enemies, the enemies of the left, the enemies of critical theorists, the enemies of cultural Marxists, to divide and conquer them. Meanwhile, the left are pushed to collectivize ever more because it's when people come together that they're strong. Take a twig and break it. Very easy to break. Take 100 twigs, put them together. No matter how much you try to muscle that, you ain't going to break it. So, yeah, the idea of being radically individual and insofar as that you'll never come together, any type of collective is evil, that's bad. And that, by the way, is another talking point from a guy named Carl Benjamin, another fraud, another fake, okay? He's also controlled opposition, I believe. He pushes the idea of radical individualism as well. Anybody that pushes the idea of radical individualism is a lefty, okay? And they're controlled opposition, just like Ben Shapiro is controlled opposition, just like Jordan Peterson is controlled opposition. I don't know if Lauren Southern is controlled opposition. I think she's more just a grifter. I think she's just an opportunist, okay? And, yeah, she's made her money. And now she can disappear into the limelight and retire at the ripe old age of 23. I thought it was so funny when people were saying to this broad, "You're saying you're a traditionalist, but you're not married or having kids." Well, I'm only 22. I'm only 23. And she keeps saying that if she continued to grift off you. But the jig is up. Less and less money was coming in. Until eventually she was making almost no money. And then this information came out and was like, woo! If people hadn't already figured out the truth about me, now I'm fucked. Now I'm fucked, so I'm just going to retire. I'm just going to retire. Move on to another grift. She's going to move on to another grift. She'll use the money she made to set herself up as some kind of other mouthpiece for some other movement, for some other cause. Yeah. Grifters like her will be just fine because there's always going to be some of you out there who are suckers that believe her bullshit. Some of you who will still champion for her. Some of you who are still beta orbiters for her and will still white knight for this broad, even in light of all this evidence that shows the contrary, that she's a lefty, that she's this grifter opportunist that is as big a feminist as any feminist running around out there, okay? She's not your friend. And the actions of these gays, these fag homos that worked for her, actions that she not only egged on, but she was their boss. So not only was she egging them, supposedly their boss, right? Not only was she egging them on, she was directing them intentionally. She's a fraud. Control, I mean, this is great. Working hand in hand with left-wing groups to prop herself up as some kind of badass revolutionary of the right who put herself in harm's way for you. Oh, well, we need to reward her. Look at this. She's putting herself in danger. Look, a brick just flew past her head. Ooh. She was never in any danger. Again, she was working with these people in return for giving. And this is my belief, based on the information I've seen. It's my belief that she was working hand in hand with these left-wing organizations, all right? She was in contact with them directly. She admitted it to Tommy Robinson. Those two fags were in contact with them directly. They bragged about it to everybody they could fucking get to listen, who they were giving free fucking Dom Perignon to and treating to $1,000 dinners that they stole from Tommy Robinson. They'd tell anybody that would listen. Oh, yeah, we're working hand in hand with George Soros-funded Hope Not Hate and other left-wing groups like Antifa. Yeah, so they could, it's just essentially to prop up their reputations as being major activists of the right and enemies of the left. Just give herself more cred within the conservative movement so she can make more dough. Make more dough. You gotta love the right-wing grifters, and there's a lot of them. Candace Owens is one of them, and this Lauren Southern, she's the new Lauren Southern. She's the black Lauren Southern. And she's in a biracial relationship too, don't you know? But that's okay. So that's Lauren Southern for you. One of the biggest frauds on the planet. I had other stories to discuss, but I spent the whole show talking about this. Wow. She's the biggest. She's a fraud. Complete and utter fucking fraud. She's working hand in hand with left-wing hate groups just to prop herself up as more of a risk taker, heartbreaker. She's definitely a fucking heartbreaker. She used men. None of her ideas were her ideas. Whenever you see her talking on those videos from her channel, those are not her words. Those are men's words that she fucked to get those words. She literally had them sitting there writing scripts for her in exchange for her pussy. Literally. That's what she was doing. Those are just 4 that we know of. Milo found 4. He found 5, actually. 4 that didn't want to be named. 5th, he used to work for Breitbart. And we don't know if she was bagging those 2 fags that worked for her. Well, one of them was a trans dude, so, So, a trans dude, he still might be into broads. A lot of these trans individuals are bi. We don't know what was going on there. And she was living with them, living with these 2 guys. Young, horny, highly sexed broad that loves to drink, living with 2 dudes. Yeah. One of them gay, one of them maybe not so gay, maybe bi. We don't know what's going on there. This woman is far from a conservative traditional. She is hedonistic. She's almost like a Satanist, in a sense. Satanists are like, well, if it harm no one else, do what thou wilt. I don't even know if to harm anybody else comes into it in this case. She's harmed a lot of people. Just do whatever you want. Hedonism, Babylon, Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm sure she knows a lot about sodomy at this point. I'm sure she's been a receiver quite a few times. I'll give you my ass if you write this for me. Just write a script for my movie. My ass is yours. I wouldn't be surprised. She was literally selling sex in exchange for intellectual property that she could then pass off as her own and make way more money than if they just gave her money in exchange for a poon. She'd have been a hooker if she hadn't stumbled upon this wonderful gig, this grift. But she is a hooker, really. She's a hooker. She's just a really high-priced hooker, okay? Getting guys to give away the real wealth of the world, their ideas, their intellectual property in exchange for her rather well-used poon. Wow. Don't in the future, when you see these broads, don't donate to them, okay? Or anybody that's working with these broads, do not donate to them. Question the validity of anybody that would work with this Candace Owens, Lauren Southern, Brittany Pettibone. All these broads are frauds. Frauds. They're all fakes, okay? Trust me on this. I called this back in 2017. I said all this stuff about her back then. Nobody listened. It was obvious to me that she was a sociopath, just pawning herself off as something she wasn't, just nothing more than an opportunist. I said all this, and people attacked me. Oh, you evil hater, you. You don't like her. You don't like her because she's so pretty. She'd never be with you. Idiots. Idiots. I don't give a fuck about that. Oh, my God. So, morons, wake up and smell the coffee, you idiots. You've been had. You've been had, and attacking me because you don't want to accept the fact that you've been had doesn't change reality, you idiots. Oh my God. All right, so that's it for this episode of The Realist Philosopher. Please like and subscribe, and if you're watching on DLive, I apologize, but while the show is going, I cannot have lots of other windows open, so I'm not able to view the chats. So if you want me to reply to a question or comment, please make a small donation on DLive, and I will reply to it in the next show. If you're watching on YouTube, please consider visiting therealistphilosopher.com/donate. The link is right at the top of the screen, and making a donation. There are numerous methods. Tippy Stream, which allows you to make a PayPal donation, Patreon, Subscribe Star, lots of different methods. Also, follow me on BitChute. BitChute, okay? It's a free speech alternative to YouTube where you can actually say what the hell you want without having to worry about being demonetized or banned. You can say whatever the hell you want. And I've actually got more followers there than I do YouTube. I get more views on my videos there than I do on YouTube because I've been shadow banned. Shadow banned on YouTube because I tell the inconvenient motherfucking truth that people don't want to hear. I don't want to hear the truth. So I'm going to give my money to some fucking thought slag who's an opportunist and is a fraud and is ripping me off. But I like to tell myself she's my friend, my ally. It makes me feel better. Ignorance is bliss and all that. Yeah, okay, pinheads. Live in fantasy land instead of reality. Well, I try to help and wake you up to the fucking red pill truth of reality. I'm a realist philosopher, baby. The red pill is reality. That's what it is. Waking up and becoming aware of how the real world actually works. And all these good-looking broads pretending to be traditional conservatives are total fucking frauds. And you continuing to play into that, continuing to feed them with money, you're not helping anybody. You're not helping anybody, and you're only making a fool out of yourself. Oh, all righty. I also suggest you follow me on social media. Twitter, Facebook, Gab, Instagram, all those links are in the description because you never know what's going to happen on YouTube. Channel could disappear just like that. So if you follow me on BitChute, you follow me on SoundCloud. I also put all the audio from all my shows on SoundCloud, so you can follow me there. And yeah, keep yourself abreast of where I am and where I'm posting content simply by remembering my website, therealistphilosopher.com. That's therealistphilosopher.com. Anyhow, that's it for this show. I hope you enjoyed. Oh, God. See, I got to stop doing this. I keep closing the window, and any pictures that I put up, I forget to take them down because I close the window, and then I don't see they're still open. You had to spend the whole show looking at those two fags. Those grifter, thieving, larcenous fags. God, makes me angry. Oh, boy. All right. I'm going to end the show on that note. I'm the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Follow me on BitChute, okay? And take care.